My name's Mike Hill, and I'm the Ordinary Professor at the University of Minnesota, there in the US. So, a few months before the program started, I was contacted by one of the organizers. We'd been in close contact the whole time because I was super excited about this program. It's in my field, and I was really looking forward to working with everybody. And they told me that they were going to nominate me for the Rothschild, and I was very honored and excited to do so. And so I submitted things like my CV and the things, and then time passed, and then I received a delightful email from the Isaac Newton Institute saying that I was selected, and I also felt really excited about this, and then started thinking about what will I talk about, and what will I do with this, and how can I tie it into the general goals of the program. And so I've been thinking about it since, and I'm really excited for the opportunity. I'll be talking about a lot of things, and the title of my talk is The Shape of Data and Social Justice. And I'm a topologist, which means that my primary interest is to try and figure out how to distinguish spaces and to use what we would call intrinsic features, so things that don't depend on the way we're presenting the space, to tell them apart. Now, this is something like I'm also a theoretical mathematician, not worrying as much about the applied side, and I try to build the tools that people can use. Now, more recently, we've been seeing, especially with the advent of large computing, people being able to use the same kinds of tools that I've been developing to study data. And essentially, we build enormous data sets that take place in incredibly high dimensional spaces, and it's impossible to visualize and difficult to get our hands on. But the same kinds of intrinsic features that we've been studying in topology and in algebraic topology can then be brought to bear. Can we say something about the data, but asking the data to sort of tell us its own story? And recently, work of people from UCLA, specifically Mason Porter's program, have been applying these to questions of social justice. Can we look at things like voting data? Can we look at things like how people have access to resources? And actually just ask, what does the data tell us about this? And how can we use this to help just understand what's going on in some of these situations? Two parts. One is kind of almost a follow-up. I wear a lot of hats in this, and so a natural question is like, how did I end up giving a talk about topological data analysis and social justice when I'm here, for, as I said, as a theoretical mathematician? One of the other hats I wear is I'm the president of an organization for LGBTQ mathematicians, and so I'm very involved in things like queer activism, and it's kind of a frightening time right now, broadly speaking, for that, and especially for trans mathematicians. And so it's the kind of thing where I think about a lot, and I think about what are my opportunities and responsibilities as someone coming from an academic institution to support other people. So that's one thing that I think is important for me to always keep in mind. Now, for the Isaac Newton Institute, it's actually my first time in Cambridge. I'd been invited to come a few years ago, but it didn't work out timing-wise, and I was very disappointed by that. So I've been super excited just to get a chance to see Cambridge. I've been to the UK before, but always to visit friends or to go to conferences, and this time to actually really get a chance to live here, to spend some time in the area, to explore some, and then to just sort of soak in the history. Coming from the US, we tend to measure things in like decades, maybe centuries for some of the older institutions, as opposed to millennia. And so it's been really, really amazing just having a chance to be here.